This is Daily Armenia, ＳիվիլNeթ's daily news digest. Here's what's making headlines in Armenia today. Gurgen Arsenyan, a wealthy businessperson turned prominent pro-government lawmaker, has formally been appointed as Armenia's next ambassador to Russia, one of the country's most important ambassadorial posts. That's according to a decree yesterday by President Khachaturian, which put an end to days of swirling speculation in the country over Arsenyan's possible appointment. Arsenyan had resigned his seat in parliament last week, suggesting Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan's administration was planning to give him a post in government. Arsenyan replaces Vagharshak Harutyunyan, who had served as Yerevan's envoy to Moscow since January 2022 and had previously spent 2 stints as Armenia's defense chief. Harutyunyan's future plans were not immediately clear, and so far neither Arsenyan nor Harutyunyan has commented on the diplomatic shakeup. Under Harutyunyan's ambassadorship, security relations between Armenia and Russia have frayed significantly, as anger and frustration has boiled over in Yerevan over what it sees as Moscow's unwillingness or inability to honor its defense obligations. Despite that growing friction, business between Yerevan and Moscow has boomed since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, with trade approaching $8.5 billion in just the first 6 months of this year, according to official figures out last week. Arsenyan has substantial business interests in agriculture, banking, construction, grocery, retail, and printing and advertising through a trust, and was one of the wealthiest members of parliament. In his latest mandatory asset declaration last year, Arsenyan said he has 17 properties and 4 vehicles, plus hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash, as well as luxury goods and stocks worth several million dollars. Armenia's foreign ministry has, for the first time, formally confirmed the existence of a secret memorandum with the Kremlin that paved the way for Yerevan to hand over a section of a critical highway to Baku after the 2020 Nagorno-Karabakh war. The ministry confirmed the document's existence yesterday to Radio Azatutun, RFERL's Armenian service, but declined to provide a copy, saying it did not have one. The memorandum, which has never been made public, was reportedly signed by Armenia's defense ministry, in effect bypassing the foreign ministry. Ara Ayvazyan, who headed the foreign ministry at the time, has previously complained that he was kept in the dark on the matter, and only learned that the defense ministry inked the deal after he left office. In the memorandum, Yerevan apparently agreed to cede control of the sole highway connecting the towns of Goris and Kapan in the strategically important southernmost Syunik region to Russian soldiers. But in August 2021, Baku took control of the highway, which runs along the former boundary that separated Armenia and Azerbaijan in Soviet times. That forced the Armenian government to set up a lengthier bypass route, which continues to be used to this day. In related news, Armenia's foreign ministry has also indicated it will not agree to dissolve the Minsk Group, an inactive international body tasked with mediating a peaceful solution to the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict before signing a normalization deal with Azerbaijan, contrary to Baku's demands. The Armenian side may consider the issue of the continuation of the Minsk process within the context of the comprehensive settlement of relations and, first of all, the conclusion of a peace treaty, the ministry told Radio Azatutun today. That in effect means Armenia is rejecting repeated calls by Azerbaijan to dissolve the Minsk Group, which would require both Yerevan's and Baku's consent before reaching a normalization agreement. There was no immediate reaction from Azerbaijan. The Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe set up the Minsk Group in the early 1990s to lead efforts to mediate a peaceful solution to the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, which it did unsuccessfully for some 3 decades up until the 2020 war. The group, which is co-chaired by France, Russia, and the United States, has been inactive since then, though it formally still exists. Baku's call for Yerevan to agree to dissolve the Minsk Group is one of a number of preconditions that is set out for a normalization deal. That notably also includes Armenia removing references to Nagorno-Karabakh from its constitution, which Yerevan has dismissed as a non-starter. In addition, Baku had repeatedly demanded an extraterritorial corridor to connect mainland Azerbaijan and its Nakhichevan exclave through Armenia's Syunik region until last week, when both sides revealed the topic had been dropped from negotiations. Referred to by Baku as the Zangezur corridor, the issue had become one of the major obstacles in ongoing efforts to reach a normalization deal. You can also check out the newest episode of ＳivilNeթ's weekly Insight series. This week, host Eric Hakopian breaks down the latest developments in Azerbaijan-Turkey relations and discusses the state of Armenia-Turkey normalization talks, including the most recent round of negotiations last month. You can find the full broadcast up now on our website at civilnet.am or through the link in the video description below. And finally, the CivilNet number of the day is 1,159,000. That's the amount in dollars that the Armenian government will disperse as compensation to corporations, entrepreneurs, and farmers whose interests were impacted by May's devastating flooding in the country's northern Lori and Tavush regions. Of that sum, $773,000 will be set aside for corporations and entrepreneurs, with the remaining $386,000 earmarked for farmers. That's according to Economy Minister Gevorg Papoyan, who gave the figures today at Pashinyan's weekly cabinet meeting. The government had previously dispersed $124,000 for families whose properties were damaged. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.